I broke a lot of hearts when I ran an acquisitions branch in the U.S. Air Force. Companies would come in with a great product, it would fit our needs, but they didn't get the contract. Not because of competition or price, but because we had the wrong color of money. That's right. The U.S. government doesn't just have money, it has colors of money, different timelines, and different restrictions. I've had many meetings with a company telling them something like, we have O&M funding, but finance still needs to determine if it's the right appropriation. Or, this is FY27 budget. You know, the company would sit there and nod along, but in reality, they often didn't understand what that meant. So, if you don't understand how government funding works, you're going to be sitting on the sidelines, wondering why you're not on contract. At worst, you could lose contracts or have no idea when they're actually going to be awarded to you. In this video, I'm going to break down the three-part framework that actually controls every dollar the federal government spends: purpose, time, and amount. And I'm going to show you how to use this knowledge when you're meeting with government offices so you know exactly where you stand. And at the end, I'm going to tell you about fallout funds. This is a concept the most successful government contractors use to win business that their competitors don't even know is available. So let's think about how money works for you and me. Let's say I've got $10,000 in the bank and my budget says $4,000 is going to go to housing and $2,000 for education, $3,000 for food, maybe $1,000 for a car payment. But if I want to take $2,000 from my tuition fund and throw it at a car payment, I just pull it out. I pull out my phone, move the money with a couple buttons, and I'm done. But the federal government can't do that, because Congress has built a system around federal funding that is designed to prevent agencies from moving funding around wherever they want it. Now, this is built on fiscal law. This isn't just like DOD or DOW policy. This applies to every federal agency. The framework has three parts: purpose, time, and amount. I'm going to focus on purpose and time. This comes from the purpose statute, the Anti-Deficiency Act, and the bona fide needs rule. Okay, so why is this so complicated? Well, Congress wants to prevent agencies from stockpiling money, moving money between missions, starting programs without oversight, and making long-term commitments without approval. So they've created funding buckets with a specific mission, a specific time window, and specific execution rules. Each agency names these buckets differently, but I'm going to use the Department of Defense or Department of War terminology just to illustrate how this works. So, quick question for you. Before I explain the funding types, drop a comment and tell me, have you ever lost a deal or had a contract delayed because of a funding issue? I want to hear your story, and I read every one of the comments and I try to respond back, and a lot of them become our next video. Now, in the Department of Defense, or for our military branches, the main colors of money are operations and maintenance, or O&M, research, development, test, and evaluation, referred to as RDT&E. They're very acronym heavy, we are in the military. Construction, and that's also known as MilCon. Now, the purpose statute requires that appropriations be used for the intent they were originally made for. So, in plain English, when Congress gives an agency money, that money can only be spent on what it was given for. An agency can't take that money that's intended for construction and use it to buy software or move money from one bucket to another. In order to do that, it requires official reprogramming actions, typically with congressional approval. And trust me, most agencies will avoid cross-appropriation moves unless absolutely necessary. So why does this matter to you? When you're selling to the government, you need to understand if the office you're talking to has the correct kind of funding to buy what you're selling. When I was running an acquisitions branch in the Air Force and putting companies on contract, I might be flush with O&M money, but I would have needed RDT&E to fund a software development project. That's frustrating for the acquisitions office, and trust me, I have had battles with our finance folks trying to justify using one type of money to make a purchase. But it's even more frustrating for the company, because if you don't understand the type of money an office has, you might think you're about to be awarded a contract when in reality, you could be a couple years off. Speaking of years, let's talk about time. Congress doesn't just assign purpose to money, they assign time. The federal government operates on a completely different calendar than you and I. Our year starts January 1st and it ends December 31st. The federal fiscal year, on the other hand, starts October 1st. It used to start in July, but in 1976, Congress moved it to October, so they'd have more time to review and pass the budget. Now, as you've seen, they still can't get it done by October half the time, or at least by October 1st, which is why we see government shutdowns and continuing resolutions. Now, here's where time really matters for your business. 1 year money must be obligated during the fiscal year it's assigned to. So if a government office has FY26 one-year money, it has to be obligated by the end of September 2026. Multi-year money, typically 2 to 5 years, is used for things that naturally take longer, like development projects, major purchases, or construction. Now, there is no year money, which is basically what me and you use, right? That's available until it's spent, but this is rare. It's usually special funds or working capital funds. You're probably not going to encounter that. After the obligation period expires of the fiscal year, the money goes into an expired phase where agencies, they can pay existing bills, but eventually it's canceled and returned to the Treasury. Now, in the military, Congress assigns time to risk and complexity. So operations and maintenance funds get 1 year. It runs the force, it covers services and sustainment. RDT&E, the research money, that gets 2 years because development usually crosses fiscal years. Procurement gets about 3 years. This is to cover contracting, manufacturing, and delivery. And MilCon, right, so this is the construction funds, these get 5-year assignments because construction timelines are long, as you know. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, Rick, I need to understand this at a much deeper level and apply to my business, then I want to tell you about something I'm really excited about. On March 25th of 2026, I am hosting the GovClose workshop in Houston. This is a full day in person. You're going to be talking with me and former contracting officers and other instructors, and we are going to go over government contracting together, how it applies to your business. We're working through your specific situation. And if you want an overview of the entire syllabus, what we're going to be going over during that day, just check out the link in the show notes or just drop a comment and I will get out the information to you so you can register, and I'd love to see you there. All right, so back to the video. Now you understand purpose and time with government money. So let me show you how a savvy company uses this information in real life. If you watch this channel, you know how much I stress the importance of meeting with the government procurement offices that buy what you sell. Now, there's a lot that goes into these meetings. If you want to know the questions you should be asking during these meetings, you can pick up the Government Contract Planner, newly revised for 2026. It's available on Amazon. But here's what a savvy company does. When you meet with a government office, you're asking if their requirement is funded and what kind of funding it is. And most companies don't do this, right? But this is what you should be doing. Let's say the office tells you that they have O&M funding for FY26. Now, they may explicitly say it to you just like this and give you nothing else. But you need to understand what that means for your business. That means they need to obligate that money by the end of September. That tells you there's going to be a push to get this on contract, probably July, August, September timeframe. But if they tell you it's scheduled as FY27 RDT&E funding, well, now you can't even put this on contract until October 1st. And in my experience, there's usually a delay in getting next year's funding. So you might be looking at December, January, February of next year before you go on contract. Could even be longer than that. See how this changes your entire forecast? Now, let me ask you this. When you've met with government offices, have they ever told you what kind of funding they have? Or did you have to figure it out on your own? Or was it even a thought in your mind? Drop a comment below. I'm curious to hear, what's working with our audience and what their experience has been here. But if this kind of knowledge is new to you, I want you to know that this is what separates people who win government contracts from people who just spin their wheels for years. And when I say it separates people who win government contracts, I mean consistently, over and over again. People who are building huge businesses. They're building small businesses, turning them into medium businesses, and then large businesses. This is exactly what we teach inside the GovClose certification program. We've trained well over 300 professionals in the program, and I've trained a lot more than that in total. And to understand how the government actually buys, this is a great program for any company that really wants to know the in and outs of selling to the federal government. We go through the real mechanics, the funding requirements, acquisition strategy, how to position yourself for the win, how to build a pipeline, close leads. Check it out at govclose.com. But here's what we've been building up to throughout the entire video. And this might be the most important thing you learn about government funding all year. Now that you understand the colors of money, that funding has a purpose, timeline, and that it expires. Let me give you some facts. According to the GovClose roadmap generator, which takes all of its data directly from USA Spending and SAM.gov, 39% of all obligations happened in Q4 of fiscal year 25. That means almost 40% of everything that went on contract happened in Q4. And you can go to USA Spending yourself and look back over the years, and you'll see that Q4 almost always has the most obligations listed there. So what's going on? What are we talking about, Rick? Well, what we're talking about is fallout funds. You know now that funding expires at the end of September. Now, this could be 1 year money, this could be 2 or 3 year money from the year before or the year before that. But Q4 spending is the highest, not because agencies are being reckless, it's because contracts, negotiations, protests, and requirements, approvals, they take most of the year. Agencies have to obligate funds before they expire at the end of September or lose buying power. But here's something else that happens. Agencies often find that they have excess funding. Now, there's no official place where you're going to read this, but everybody knows it's taking place. In my experience, agencies, they start identifying excess funds in late spring, meaning they might have $1 million in excess funds, and they need to put a plan together in order to spend it. All of the agencies are scrambling to spend all of their money before the end of September. At the end of the day, they're afraid to give it back to the government because they think they'll get less the next year. So they prioritize the extra money they have. They compare it to existing programs, maybe construction projects on the base. There might be pet projects that the CIO or the chief of engineering want to put through in order to help accomplish a mission. But aligning these fallout funds and knowing when that takes place is critically important for you, the business owner. I can personally remember companies that were really good at government contracting, either subtly or not so subtly, asking me in the spring if there were going to be fallout funds available and, hey, what were we going to use them for? Maybe we could use it for their project. The government doesn't have to tell you about fallout funds or what they're doing with it, but you should be asking them. The more closely you work with the procurement office, the better aligned you are going to be when fallout funds become available. Now, this is advanced, but it is necessary. It's necessary to understand government funding if you want to be the most successful government contracting company, consultant, account executive that you could be. Purpose and time. These are the colors of money. Understand them, and you'll know exactly where you stand when you're talking to a government office. You'll know whether that contract is coming in July or January, and you'll be positioned to capture fallout funds that your competitors won't even know exist. Now, here's what I want from you. If you want a video that goes deep on the requirements process, how Congress appropriates money, how the president's budget gets submitted, how all of this flows down to the contracting office, leave a comment. Just say, show me the process. If you want to know more about fallout funds, throw that in there. So we're putting together our lineup of videos for the year, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you want to see. And if you're ready to take this seriously, GovClose Workshop in Houston on March 25th, this is where we're going to work together on all of this in person. In fact, on the 26th, the day after, this is where we're having an inner circle meeting just for those members that are in GovClose, and we're going to go deep on the 26th. So I would love to see you in the workshop or the inner circle, and then I'll see you in the next video.